I started commercial fishing, I was single and on welfare, so it was kind of a low point in my life. And a friend phoned me up and said, "Do you want to go halibut fishing? We're leaving Port Hardy at midnight." And I said, "Oh, phone me back in an hour. I don't know right now." And I got off the phone and realized that if I didn't go halibut fishing, that I was going to be sitting on the couch, right? And because I didn't have any money, and um, so I packed my stuff. I had a shower, I had something to eat, and I called my mom and asked if I could borrow $50 so I could afford gas to go up to Port Hardy, and that's how I started commercial fishing. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen, you know. Yeah. There's a synchronicity that happens when you know that you're doing the right thing and you show up right at the right time, you know. And if you follow your passion and you follow that synchronicity, because things happen, they're laid out in front of you, and if you follow that, then that's what happens. You show up right at the right time, and you know, different things unfold, you know, in a really good way. I've been here on this property for 24 years, and it was really a dream of mine to own my own place, and you know, so on the property there's a cedar grove, and it's not like an old cedar grove, mature second growth, like I was saying, because this place has been logged. You know, the early pioneers came and logged off quite a bit of it, and 4 out of the last 7 years, great blue herons have nested in my cedar grove, and it's just like, wow, it's so amazing, you know. And one year there was 11 nests. They're such big birds, and they need big trees. And people, you know, some people consider, you know, trees to be in the way if they want to, you know, build a house or whatever. For me, for example, I mean, cutting down those cedar trees would be like cutting off my arm, you know. It's like, it's part of the land here, and I'm really honored to be here and have a cedar grove. I didn't even know I owned it until after I moved in. After I moved in, I went, wow, this is mine too. Oh my goodness. You know. One day, I don't know, about 4 years ago, I guess, there was some guys cutting brush all over there, and there's a 300-meter radius around heron rookeries to protect them from noises. And the guys were cutting brush over there, and I went over and told them that the heron rookeries here, and they finished up what they were doing and they stopped. But then there was another crew over here, BC Hydro, and they didn't stop. And you know, I don't know exactly what impact it had on them, but I made a lot of noise about it, and I got a hold of biologists from BC Hydro, and I was told by a man that does environmental work in our community that it made some changes, because the problem is that Ministry of Environment had mapped the cedar grove for the nest, but they didn't. They kept the information to themselves. So how could BC Hydro know unless they shared that information? So they like to keep those. They like to protect them and not share them too widely. But there needs to be a certain amount of sharing that information. So I ended up getting a letter of apology from one of the head guys for BC Hydro on the island.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's it's really important. You know, there's more and more people taking over the natural world, and it's it's really important to speak up for it. And my first protest ever was when I was 15 years old, and it was the same year that Greenpeace formed that year over nuclear bombing in the Amchitka Islands in Alaska. And so me and some of my friends made a banner in school at Campbell River, and we marched on the streets of Campbell River. Save Amchitka. So, I'm 58, so I've been at this protecting the environment and doing environmental sort of work for most of my life. Yeah, it's really important. Think of our community as being Comox and Courtney and Cumberland. Well, our community is Rosewell Creek and Trent River and Sable River and the Puntledge River and Millard Creek and Morrison Creek and Little River and Oyster River. That's our community too, and people don't remember that. You know, like the Cedar Grove. I go out there and I walk the property here just about every day, my neighbor's property, and sit with different places, and you know, it's the same as building a relationship with other people. You build a relationship with people by spending time and sharing time, right? And you do the same with the land. You know, I go to the bottom of the Trent River Canyon, and I haven't been down there for a little while now. But I was telling Dan earlier that I got this poem that I wrote. There's this big fir tree down there, and this fir tree is 4 hugs around. Okay, think about it. If all four of us here held hands, it's that big around, right? And so I wrote a poem about it, and it's called "In the Presence of Elders," and it's about a fir tree, right? I am honored to be sitting here like an old friend, sharing time and space, learning about how it feels to have lived so long that you become an old soul who radiates wisdom from the center of your being to your surrounding community, so all your relations may be guided by the knowledge that you carry. So to me, that old tree is the same as an elder in the community. It supports the young plants and the young trees, and it's the same.
What is one thing you most want people to remember you by?
Yeah, being an environmentalist, I guess. You know, yeah. I don't think there's any problem with that, because I think that people already know that, realize that about me, and and passing on that knowledge too to youth, and passing it on to my grandson. It's like, wow,
yeah.
that's so amazing. Sometimes it's easier to sit around and not do those things, and not use your voice, but it's really important. I think that it's empowering too. You know, I mean, you have a voice, use it. You know, and while it's scary sometimes, it's really important to speak up for what you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went, well, I have to do this, and it's about that knowing inside yourself too, when something's really important, or when you have to do it, you know, and not sitting that one out, you know, and going, yeah, I'm going to be there, I'm going to show up, you know, and sometimes that can mean people, friends, family, community members looking at you in a different way, or and it can affect friendships and your work, but I'm really proud of any issue that I've spoken up or stood up for, and gathered with community members for, and marched through town. I mean, that's not the only time I marched through town, but it's one of the more recent ones. You know, it's we have to do that. You know, I think so. So when those and they're going to come along in your lives too, and don't sit them out. You know, put yourself out there and have the courage to stand up for, the natural world, or, for First Nations culture, or nuclear bombing and Chitka. Like I said, that's where I started in 1970. So, yeah, those things are really important.